2018-2019 NBA season preview. We are going to take a look at a few different topics. Joe, what we're going to do is I'm going to pose a question. Right,
Okay.
and the three of us will answer to the best of our knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm expecting, probably you and Naeem are probably a little bit, have probably did more research than I have, so you'll probably be a little bit more ready. So I'm going to be shooting darts. So we're going to discuss these topics. Who is your top three for the MVP?
Okay.
Who do you think is going to win the MVP of those three?
Okay.
Who's your pick for Rookie of the Year? Who is your pick for Most Improved? Who will be the top three teams picking in the draft? I'm going to need 8 teams for the Eastern Conference playoffs, 8 teams for the Western Conference playoffs. Tell me who's going to make conference finals. Top 5 players in the league. The team most interested in watching, that you are most interested in watching. And the player most overrated and underrated. Player and team most overrated and underrated. All right, so those are going to be the topics in this NBA segment. But before we get there, let me just touch on some NBA news really quick. The Knicks said goodbye to Joakim Noah. He got cut.
Oh.
Phil Jackson, bruh. Phil Jackson. I was one of the people that was okay with the signing, even though it was clear that he had fallen off.
He was broken.
But at least I thought he would have played.
Yeah.
Provide that leadership. Florida, you win.
No. Tom Thibodeau broke him.
But see,
Go ahead.
with Noah, again, it's not even so much that he's fallen off, it's that position has disappeared in the way that he plays it.
Right.
That back to the basket, rugged and rough power forward / center has now been replaced with guys who can handle the ball, shoot threes, play on the perimeter.
Hey Doc, I don't know if you looked,
long athletic wing.
I don't know if you looked at the depth chart. They've replaced power forwards with small forwards now. Mm-hmm. So I was cool when it was combo forwards, big threes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Melo is a big 3. Durant's a big 3. LeBron's a big 3. They're just straight up putting threes at the 4 now and calling it a day.
Well, you can do that because there's no Shaqs. There's no Hakeem Olajuwon.
Right.
Right now, the play. Well,
But
Joel Embiid.
what does
Go ahead.
Noah do now with players like Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins, who can get the ball at the top of the key, make a move, and get around almost every big man in the league and drive it in? Noah doesn't have that skill, and nor could he guard a player with that skill.
Yeah.
He just gets to watch like we watch.
So there's there's no place for him anymore.
Nah.
Yeah. Phil
Because
Jackson
the
definitely
league
blew
has
it.
changed.
Yeah, Phil Jackson blew it on this one. And like I said, I thought it was going to be okay. But, I don't know. I'm always afraid of signing bigs because they quit. They quit first.
Well, you would sign him because he's not a quitting kind of guy.
He's not. He's the
Wizards
different.
were
Right. He's the
in a
different.
similar situation where we had Martin Gortat, and we basically just traded him for a guard just now for Austin Rivers. Because it's the same thing. Gortat's a good player, but it's just his style of play is just going by the wayside, and he could not check, the quicker power forwards and centers. And he had a pretty good mid-range, but now, teams don't want mid-range. They want threes or layups.
Right.
And never mind guarding people at your position. They are scheming to put you out on the perimeter by yourself. Pick and roll, screen and roll. Now you got to guard Steph Curry, all these quick guards running around. He's just like a fish out of water. So the game is completely changed at the moment until the next Shaq shows up.
Okay, and I'm actually glad that he's gone. I was hoping that they didn't give him that buyout or the stretch.
Okay.
Let him come off of the books nice and clean next year.
Like the Bobby Bonilla.
Let him,
stretch.
just let him go nice and clean. No problem. When he's gone, it's like it never happened.
Right.
Like it never happened.
Yeah.
All right. Other NBA news: Miles Turner, center for the Indianapolis Pacers. Indiana Pacers just re-upped 4 years, $80 million coming out of his rookie deal.
He deserved it.
Just did his rookie's 3-year rookie deal, and now he gets extended 4 years, $80 million. That's $20 million per. Is he a $20 million per player?
Yes, he is. Because if you wait, he's definitely in his position. The shot blocking, the ability to
That's
shoot
what
the
I
three.
love about the NBA,
Yes.
which is so different than the NFL. Is again, Miles Turner has a lot of upside, so he's basically being paid for upside
Yes.
that has not yet been realized.
Yes.
Because you don't want to have
The
to pay him too
NFL
much.
doesn't,
Right.
it doesn't work like that. If you don't reach your upside in your 3-year rookie deal, is a good chance your career may be over.
Yes. And then the interesting thing about that is prior to the NBA rookie salary scale, right? And this is like prior to these guys coming out at age 18 also, this is what he would be getting if he were coming into the draft as a junior or a senior leaving college, which is actually the
Right.
age where he is.
Yeah.
Right? So, yes. But
And this money is good. You know, there's a good chunk of this money that's guaranteed.
I think it's all guaranteed.
It's all in basketball. All
So
of it is.
maybe it's all guaranteed. Right, it's
all
all
guaranteed.
guaranteed. So again, in the NFL, you know that just a player that has performed as he has performed would never get this kind of contract in the NFL.
Nah, never. But the thing is, I think that Miles Turner has steadily improved every year, and he's put himself in that
Again,
position.
he has upside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You
and
know,
they see him working
the,
out.
The
Right.
Indiana
Well-
Pacers are hoping he realizes it because him with Oladipo, I mean, that's a nice punch.
right, and they got a
1-2
couple other
punch
sleepers
right
in there
there.
too.
Oh yeah,
Right.
Right. Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely good to see that. Like I said, this is right where he would be getting paid if he were coming out of college, and this is a good part of the NBA system with the rookie salary scale. Is you develop the player, and then you get to control the player, right? You don't develop the player and he get to walk away.
right.
Right.
All right. Larry Nance gets read up. Same situation, except he's with his second team, acquired via trade. Cavaliers extend him 4 years, $45 million. Any thoughts on that?
Wow.
That's a lot of money, but it's a tradable asset.
Why? Again, if my son is, it's just why would I ever want my son to play football? It does not make sense to play football anymore. If Larry Nance can get, again, it's upside. He's a good player, but 4
And-
years, $45 million.
and also-
you know how many NFL players would die for that?
They would.
contract?
It's not even in. It's not even in the atmosphere. They would. But in comparing to Miles Turner came out one and done, so he's just hitting 22 years old, maybe.
He's young.
Larry Nance actually did 3 years in college, so he's at about 26. So his development is about done. They might be paying him for what he's producing now.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Right.
It's not much else going to happen for him besides
Yeah.
a couple highlight alley-oops.
And
Block shots.
again, he's a serviceable big man. He's with a good point guard. He's good for at least 2 or 3 easy dunks, alley-oops, layups per game. He's going to rebound. He defends well. I mean, he is serviceable for what he does. But man, serviceable gets you $45 million nowadays.
Yeah, but it's still in that range where you could package him if you so
I
choose
mean,
to.
man, Charles
in a
Oakley
trade.
must be.
That's what happens.
And I actually thought that it's interesting looking at their depth chart, the Cavs, because he dropped the junior off his name.
Okay.
So it's like flashback.
Oh, I didn't
like,
know that.
You look and you see Larry Nance. You're like, wait a minute, what year is this?
Uh-huh.
It's Larry Nance Jr.
It doesn't make a difference if he has a junior or not. It's
Yeah.
he's still
No,
gonna get 10 and 8 a
did
game.
he give a reason why?
He probably wants to pay homage to Daddy, and this is a really good way.
Well, he get you that 10 and 8 a game.
Yeah. Well, I actually thought him and LeBron were going to mesh better, but I have issues with LeBron and how teammates work with him. It's kind of weird. He picks and chooses, but I thought him and Larry Nance would have worked. But the problem is they were probably playing the same position, and you don't want to play Larry Nance at the 5.
It also seems like LeBron has a hard time trusting the younger players.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, you look at now how they've constructed this Lakers team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all veterans,
Yeah.
and I'm wondering how that's going to hurt the development of the young guys.
It's not. It's going to help the development of the young guys because
Well, they're not going to see the floor as much.
Oh.
Like now that you have Rondo, that will cut into a chunk of playing time for Lonzo.
true, but again, Lonzo.
Especially in crunch time at
Yeah.
the important possessions of each game.
Mhm.
Who does LeBron trust on the floor? It's going to be Rondo
Yeah,
for
'cause
those
he can
very
shoot.
important possessions.
Right. Okay, so
So that hurts.
The-
To me,
the
that
first
hurts
thing-
the development.
the first thing that comes to mind is, again, I'm always going to use baseball development as an example, is Lonzo probably should be in the minors.
You use that because we don't know baseball as well as you, so we can't really argue with you. That's why you do that.
So a player like Lonzo maybe would be in the minors, but the fact is he actually wouldn't because he's so outstanding as an 18 and 19-year-old that he would probably be here. But you have to look at the development of players as reaching physical maturity at 24, 25, mental maturity, the peak of your physical height with you being smart enough to really operate on the court or on the field is about age 27, right? So players like Lonzo, Ingram, so on and so forth, they really should be at 25 minutes a game. 25. If they're playing on the big stage at the top level, they're 25 to 30 minutes. And they'll be fine because the 82 game, 35 minute a game grind is not happening. It's not. They will equate to the same amount of minutes playing 80 games, 25 minutes, than they would trying to push 35 minutes. Not to mention their efficiency is going to suffer with the extra minutes. So I think it's a perfect situation. If you can learn from these guys in practice, Rondo, Lance, even Beasley, LeBron, JaVale, KCP, these veterans will lead you in practice, and you maybe get 20, 25 minutes on the court, and that's really all you need, and you'll be straight.
I was agreeing with everything you said until you said they're going to learn from Beasley. And
They're going to learn how to score. What?
How to go unconscious.
They're
and
going to
shoot
learn how to.
anywhere.
They're
If
going
I'm-
to learn
if
how to
I'm
get
the
that
coach,
tunnel vision.
I would keep the youngsters as far away from Beasley as I could.
All right, let's see. Anything else? NBA news? Nope. Let's jump into the NBA season preview.
right.
This is the Council Sports Talk 2018-2019 NBA season preview. We got Baby Joe and Doc on the line. The league MVP.
You already know who I'm picking.
Give me your top 3 for league MVP.
Top 3. I'm picking LeBron first. Reason being, he's going out here. Nobody believes in this team as it is because they think it's a bunch of misfits, youngsters, and veterans. I feel like this team, in my opinion, is third at the worst, 4th best team in the Western Conference. So I think that alone with an increase in wins and the way they'll go about getting the wins defensively, offensively, whatever way they need to get it done. LeBron with this team, I think he's going to get the MVP. You're going to get to see him in action. I honestly thought that he deserved the MVP last year.
He deserves the MVP every year.
Right.
The question is not is he going to be the best player in the league. The question is, will they give him the MVP?
Yeah, and the thing I don't understand is people will say he is the best basketball player on the planet. They'll tell you that. And in the next breath,
Go vote for
pick
somebody
another
else.
MVP.
Go vote for Steve Nash for MVP.
Doesn't make sense to me. Exactly. So he's my number one. The other guy that jumps off the page to me is Giannis. I think Giannis, you might see him in the talk. He has gone and worked on a lot of his game. He's been working out with Kobe in the offseason. And if he can somehow bring a jumper back, I think that he could be your dark horse for MVP. The other guy that kind of I'm kind of torn between two guys. Kawhi stands out to me because I think everything that happened this year and him going to Toronto, if they can somehow get back to the level that they played last year and actually be in competition for maybe the top spot or the second spot in the East, you could see him creep into the comic. He's a great player, and I think that he might be unleashed.
Yes.
Because down in San Antonio, he had to play the system. So if you get to see him just come out and do his thing, who knows what you might see. The other guy that's like runner-up.
Yeah, I think we said 3, not like 3.5. Now go ahead though. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I just had to throw this guy out here. What's his name for Boston? Kyrie Irving.
Okay.
If Kyrie Irving can stay healthy with the way and the number of wins that they get, if they can take the top spot in the East and he can throw some numbers up with it, I think you might see him in the conversation.
Okay.
But
Doc, who's your 3 for MVP?
It's the easy choice is LeBron because he's in a perfect position for MVP. Because again, he's gonna have to carry a lot of the lion's share of the rebounding and scoring to lead this team to where they're trying to go. So that's an easy choice. Well, he could probably be MVP, obviously, every season. But then, there's dark horses that, there's always Russell Westbrook, who also has to do a lot for his team to be successful. So, he's going to be right there. James Harden is another one that does a lot for his team. So those would be, the top 3. Those are players who have the ball in their hands and are asked to do a lot on a nightly basis to carry their team, and take those 3 players off, and those 3 teams are probably lottery teams just about.
Doc, what's the chances John Wall wins the MVP this year?
What's funny is with this whole, Jimmy Butler thing, I was hoping the Wizards would make a move for Jimmy Butler because
Over Brad Beal or Jimmy Butler at
John
3?
Wall. Yeah, for Bradley Beal.
Okay.
For Bradley Beal. I mean, I would love to send them Jimmy Butler for Otto Porter, but I don't think that would work.
That would be
we'll
nice.
Probably have to do Bradley Beal.
That's how you need to do it.
Nice.
That's how they need to do it.
Right, but I think John Wall needs that guy with that attitude.
Okay.
That is not accepting of the mediocrity that a lot of these NBA players play with, and that's hard. That's the bad side of these guaranteed contracts. I think the reason why every single Sunday so many fans are drawn to the TV is because these NFL players are playing their hearts out every single Sunday. Every game counts. Every down counts. And they go all out for every single play. NBA just is not that kind of a sport. It's 80-something games. And they don't really start playing hard until the playoffs,
Right.
and the money's guaranteed. So,
Well,
like, why? What is their
it's-
incentive to even play hard?
It's beyond that. It's a mental approach to a marathon, which is different than a mental approach to a sprint. So no matter what
Absolutely.
you do to them, you can try to whip them into shape all you want. They know I got 60 more games, and they know there's no way I can go out here and play 100% 4 times this week. No,
Right.
it's not happening. It's not possible. It's not
Right.
humanly possible. The game is a marathon. We don't look at basketball like that, but again, back to baseball. As a baseball fan, you look at baseball in the context of 162, right? It's a marathon, so you can have a 14-game losing streak and be like, cool. It's just that's just the nature of the sport. The marathon
Right.
is just as important as any individual game, and that's what the NBA is. It's 82 games on the road.
Right.
It's crazy. It's crazy, and
It is.
when you think about people that have played 82 games, 40 minutes per, nuts.
No, that is nuts. Which is again why I think the NCAA's when you get to March Madness is so exciting because it's one and done, so it's all out war basketball.
Right.
That's and the same thing with the NFL. You got 16 games. That's it,
Right.
and it's all out war for every game.
So here's my 3 for the MVP. Right.
So
I just stole.
So I said my 3. I think it would be between Westbrook, Harden, and
LeBron.
and I guess that's probably towing the party line, the easy one. And I'm going to go with LeBron and his new environment winning the MVP this year.
Okay. So I'm going to back up off of LeBron on mine. Right. So
your world.
I would definitely say LeBron first, but I'm going to back up off of that.
Okay.
Right, because I actually think he may carry. I'm about to go out on a limb and
Get
I'm way
Skip
too
Bayless
heavy.
on. Step way out there as far as you can go.
All right, I'm going to keep LeBron in my top 3.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
Smart.
I'm going to go out on a limb a little bit. I'm going to go with Kyrie because if the Celtics finish number 1 in the East, and these NBA writers, they be all over the place. So they voting for the best player or the player that had the best season really doesn't even come into play in the conversation. Mm-hmm. It's they're looking at a team with the best record and maybe that team's best player or a player that just has a phenomenal year above and beyond normal. But I'm going to go for the top 3, Kyrie, because the Celtics are going to win 55 to 60 games. And he's going to be their best player. He likely will barely average 20, 21.
Okay.
All right?
The assist total should come up, though.
No.
It came up last year while he
So
was
what,
hurt.
5?
That's a lot.
For
Like,
him.
He was getting 6 or 7. You go ahead.
He's not a distributor. That's a waste of his talent.
Well, if he could show that, I think that would help his case.
You know what? If he shoots 50% from the field, which is what he does, he comes close to that. And that's what's crazy. If he gets to 50, 40, 90, this is why Kyrie is special, because him and Steph are the only ones that can shoot high volume and make baskets at a good rate. When I say a good rate, 45 is a good rate for a perimeter player, but 50 means you're seeing things on another level. The whole game is slow for you. If he can go 50, 40, 90, Kyrie is going to be your MVP. The other player that has a chance to do the same thing in the West, I think, is Dame Lillard. So I'm going to put him there.
Man, you're really going out on the
That's
reaching.
hard.
I'm reaching.
I don't think he's going to have the wins to back the – you got to win to get that MVP. And in the
You
West,
do.
I don't know how they can – they're going to struggle against the really good teams. They can beat everybody else, but like Houston, Golden State, spanked. As soon as you start looking like an MVP, you take a 20-point whooping.
A special season of 28 points per game, 7 assists per game, shooting near 50% will get Damian Lillard the MVP.
I don't think that's enough. Westbrook has already beat him.
And 50 wins.
Westbrook can have
but
better numbers than that.
will they win enough games to?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You need 50, he needs 50 wins to qualify.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
Westbrook is going to put up better numbers than him across the
The
board.
problem I have with Kyrie is obviously his health. Will he be able to play enough games
Mm-hmm.
to, be in the running for MVP? And does he do enough for his team to win the
Right. 'Cause
MVP?
they won't need him to do anything.
And the reason
actually.
I say that is he may not be the most valuable player on his team. That may be Jason Tatum.
Right.
That's true. That's very true. So that's why I say he needs the assist totals. Like he averaged 5.1 assists last year, I guess before the injury or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So if he can push that 8-9 a game, then it
Oh,
pushes,
there's no way.
I think he could do
He's
it.
no way. He's
Those
going to be
guys-
playing with Rozier, too. Rozier's going to be on the court. Marcus Smart going to be on the
Those
court.
guys can knock down shots. He should be able to find at least
Yeah. That's a waste of time, though, Joe. That's a waste of time for him because why does he need to bother distribute when, one, they're in a passing system where they share the ball? When he touches, he needs to destroy because no one else can destroy at that level. No one else can score at that level with that efficiency. Don't waste him by having him distribute.
You could dish the rock to Gordon Hayward. That's 3 assists a game right there. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no reason.
Gordon Hayward going to be dishing to him. Watch. Watch. Let's move on to Rookie of the Year. Let's see. What are we looking for? Top 3? No. Or just one?
I got a couple, but
All right. Give me your nominations, but let's keep it brief so we can cover as much as we can. But we're really just trying to get to one guy. So you go first, Joe. Who's your pick for Rookie of the Year?
First thing I look at is a team that's not stacked and not in the running to do anything, right? So that means he's going to get plenty of minutes, whoever this person is. Luka Doncic is one of them, and I think Trae Young could slide his way in. Why? Because, yeah, he might struggle a couple games, but when you look at his body of work by the end of the year, if he's put up a nice little stat line, he's hitting a bunch of threes, he leads his team to a couple of crazy victories. You
So
can see him slide in.
Here's a list of players that I think are going to get minutes. DeAndre Ayton for Phoenix,
Yeah.
Marvin Bagley for Sacramento, Luka.
Yes.
I don't think Jaren Jackson is going to get a lot of minutes. He's going to be a backup really to Gasol. Mohamed Bamba for Orlando. Orlando really knows how to mess up a player's development, so who knows? He might not play at all.
You don't think Jackson will get more minutes? Because they don't have Zach Randolph there anymore.
I really liked what I saw from Knox
Okay.
in Summer League.
Knox is going to
I don't-
get a ton of minutes.
He will.
Colin
And I
Sexton
really
is going to
liked what
get
I
minutes.
saw.
I think really that's the group that's going to get minutes out of the top guys. There's going to be a couple guys in there hidden that might have, the Donovan Mitchells that we don't really know about yet that are going to
Right,
shine.
right.
A second round guy here that's going to fall into a situation where he gets minutes. But the guys that are really going to get minutes that are really competing for Rookie of the Year, Ayton, Bagley, Doncic, Trae Young. I'm going to put in Wendell Carter, Colin Sexton, Kevin Knox. So just want to put that
And I
out
like
there. Now tell
Wendell
me.
Carter. Wendell Carter also looked good in Summer League with Chicago.
Yeah.
He again, rebounded well, defended well, and was able to score from multiple positions on the
Right.
floor.
And Chicago has been doing a very good job. Is it still the mayor, Fred Hoiberg?
Yeah, he's there.
He's been doing a good
Yeah.
job on playing young players. I'm going
He's
to put it
got
like
to.
that.
He has to.
Markkanen, Portis, Mirotic, all of these guys have gotten minutes and have kind of developed kind of well. So.
After the knockout, Mirotic left.
yeah.
He left the building.
Yeah. So, Doc, who's your pick for Rookie of the Year?
I'm going Ayton because the team he plays on,
Sucks.
he will get a lot of minutes, and he will be dependent on to score. And the only person competing with him for minutes on that team, I think, is going to be Tyson Chandler.
Yeah, he
And
don't
I
even
think
really
they
want to
will
play.
Gladly give those
Tyson
minutes
who?
to
Tyson Chandler don't
Ayton.
even want to play. He waiting for a trade.
Right.
Thought
He's
he was
basically on ice till they send him somewhere. You know what's crazy though? They just signed Jamal Crawford. Like, what are you thinking? I don't get that. Why would you sign Jamal Crawford for?
Right.
This is
Right.
what I say
I
about
know.
NBA
Shooting,
general
man.
managers.
He
And
wasn't
why
It's
would
stupid.
Jamal Crawford sign with them?
I don't get it.
Now,
He just
that's
needs a job. He just don't want to sit out and not get paid when game checks start coming
Yeah.
around.
All you gotta do is be patient.
Yeah.
I mean, who can't use Jamal Crawford?
Right. Somebody would pick him up sooner or later.
Went from the
But
Timberwolves to the Suns.
yeah,
Yeah, it's over.
yeah.
He's just
but
collecting checks.
He's just collecting. He wants to get all the game
But he
checks,
can
which is
still
fine.
play.
No, he can still play.
No, I
He's
get
going to
that.
get signed.
Yeah, I get that.
He's going to go on. He's going to move on from here to another team. They're
But
probably
it's
going
a
to trade
wasted
him.
year. I mean,
It's a wasted year for Phoenix, not for Jamal.
well, I say it's wasted.
Right.
Okay, as far as his pockets go, it's good. But
Right.
I'm thinking you're getting older and you want to be in a position to compete for something.
Yeah, see, but you look around the NBA, and again, NBA general managers in general are stupid. So you look around the NBA, you see veterans on bad teams, like Courtney Lee on the Knicks. Why is he here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Can I help you? It's like those minutes could go to a G leaguer. Give those minutes to
Right.
a G leaguer so we
Yeah.
can see somebody else.
Yeah.
You
You
know
can
what I
find
mean? It's
that
a
next
waste.
gym.
You can
find the
find
next gym.
exactly. It's a waste. It's a waste of minutes. They always do it.
That's one thing I like about Philly. They are playing their guys.
Yeah. All right. So Doc, you're going with Ayton. Baby Joe's going with Luka. I'm gonna go with. Let's see. Should I go out on a limb? I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna go Colin Sexton from the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Okay.
Only thing in
I don't
front of
know
him
if
is George Hill.
That's yeah.
George Hill is a cosmetic starter
Okay.
generally over his
Right.
career. He's a good player, but he's really a bench player, right? He's a guy
He is.
that's in your top 8 rotation, point guard off the
He should
bench.
not start.
Yes, he's not really a starting caliber player, although you can put him there and he'll do well enough to be serviceable. But he's really biding time. Colin Sexton drops a couple of 20s off of the bench, and George Hill could be trading places. Or you keep Colin Sexton on the bench where he can have that freedom to go in the game and go crazy instead of trying to tell him he's a point guard and you want him to run a system.
They need to let him play the whole game and be
Right,
free.
they can kind of do a Kenny Smith, Sam Cassell type of thing, where Kenny Smith started the games, but Sam Cassell was getting the majority of the time, especially the majority of the fourth quarter minutes.
Right.
They could do that for Colin Sexton to give him that experience, because you certainly don't want George Hill on the foul line with the game on the line, as we learned last year.
Right.
Yeah, and their team is not good. So I think if Sexton is explosive enough, you're gonna see him probably take that. It's gonna be his team. He has every chance in the world.
Yeah. Well, he's got Kevin Love. He's got Tristan Thompson, Larry Nance.
Tristan who?
Yeah.
Tristan
Kardashian. Yeah. So he will be starting.
Yeah, when you marry a Kardashian, you take her last name.
Hey.
Don't think you're going in there with your full
Listen,
name. It's
you
over.
already know.
It's handed over.
All right. Let's move on to most improved player. Most improved player. So usually when the silly NBA writers vote for this award, it's really just a player who was getting 20 minutes a game last year and now is getting 30 minutes a game. So that's really how they look at that award, which is really a joke, because all it is about your opportunity, because they always look for simple statistics to give out awards and really don't look into the deeper context. So I'm going to ask you guys to look a little bit beyond who's about to get an improvement in minutes and talk about who is going to be the most improved player, whether it's already an all-star, it's a guy that's already starting and already getting minutes, or whatever the situation is. So who do you think will be the most improved player that's impacting his team with W's and obviously his own statistics? So some type of combination of the two, if possible. It may not be possible, but, try to add some component of wins, improving as a player, and improving statistically.
I want to take, well, it's a couple people in mind, but I'm going to go with the guy that I think the writers and people will notice the quickest. And that person for me is Brandon Ingram. It looks as though LeBron has taken a liking to him. You already saw him put up some nice numbers in the preseason, couple of preseason games, scoring 30-plus points. He's going to have an opportunity to pitch in, or else he's probably going to be traded. So I could see him coming out, improving his game, and bringing his game to another level. I pick him, like I said, because there is a lot of opportunity there. It's not like there's a Rondo in front of him. I don't think there's anybody that can steal his minutes.
Kuzma.
Yeah, but you can put both Kuzma and him on the court at
And
the
then
same
LeBron's
time.
your center.
Right. So so I think that you're going to, if he continues to play like he's played in the preseason, I think that you will see him in the mix and probably most likely get that most improved.
Doc, who's your pick for most improved?
You know, who I would like to see win that would be Chris Dunn. And the reason I say that
Did you say
is
Chris
I
Middleton?
really like Chris Dunn,
Okay.
point guard for Chicago.
Yeah.
I really liked his game in college, but for whatever reason, it has not really panned out in the NBA. But he has all the tools, and I think if he could put it together, Chicago could surprise some teams this year.
So
I would
I
love
actually
to
like
see-
that pick, but I would disagree that he hasn't actually been doing well. He has been doing well with opportunity. He was with Minnesota for the rookie year, and they had a glut of point guards. He only played 17 minutes per game. He did appear in 78 games as a rookie. He shot 37% from the field. I know we beat up Lonzo for the same type of numbers last year, but Lonzo had much more opportunity. Last year he was hurt the first half of the season, and once he came back is when the Bulls started to click. The Bulls started to realize that they were winning games, and they started to sit everybody again because they didn't want to win. Last year he went to 30 minutes a game, shooting 43% from the field, 32% from three. More importantly, listen to this. 4.3 rebounds per. 6 assists per. 2 steals. Half a block. It's 13.4 per game. So you're saying the next step is borderline all-star, best player on this team.
Yes, yes, and which is the formula for what you're saying for most improved, because his next step will definitely equal more wins, potentially a playoff seeding for Chicago, and improving his 3-point shooting, improving his his scoring. I just think he's right for it. For most improved player, yeah.
I think you're 100% right. Here's my pick. I'm going to go with the Brooklyn Nets, D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo
You're
Russell.
shaking it up tonight. You're really shaking it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
D'Angelo Russell?
D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell.
I don't want to laugh, but
First of all,
let me be serious.
I'm gonna name a name for you.
serious.
I'm gonna name a name for you so you can understand what's happening in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Brooklyn doesn't have a lot of talent. They're not gonna win a lot of games.
Okay.
Okay, so that's not what it is. But the coach and the system is right because they keep taking trash and making that trash look good. No offense. Spencer Dinwiddie. The Spencer Dinwiddie that played for Brooklyn last year, you probably wish he was still a Piston.
Actually, no. I was glad to see him go.
Wow.
Spencer gave me hypertension.
Well, he
I
would.
couldn't
Well,
take it. I'd rather lose and watch him dribble
no.
around.
He's a big guard. He's got to watch. He's got to be careful with the ball. So here's Russell's numbers last year for Brooklyn. He appeared in 48 games, 35 starts. He played 26 minutes per game, which is actually the least of his 3-year career. He shot 41%, which was a career high.
He had some knee issues too last year.
Yeah, 32% from 3. Rebounds 3.9, 5.2 assists, which is a career high. That's a really good number. Just below 1 steal, just below half a block, 3.1 turnovers. Here's my prediction on his stat line. D'Angelo Russell has a sweet scoring game, and it's about to be unleashed on the NBA. I'm giving him 21 per game.
Okay.
42% from the field, 36% from 3, with 6.5 assists.
Those are Kyrie numbers.
Well, it's different for a 15-win team than it is for a 55-win team. It is the same
How
numbers.
many shots does he get in the game? Like,
Oh, he's going to get
30?
20.
Oh,
He's going to get 20. He's going to get 20. He's going to hit 8 out of 20. That's 16 points, 3 threes. That's 19. 2 3 free
So
throws,
he's
and
gonna
he's
be
at his
featured.
22. He's the man. He's the man.
okay.
So have we confirmed that he has stopped video and audio?
Oh
taping?
man, he
And-
can't go nowhere with me, bro.
I was trying my best to stay away
Yo,
from
that
that.
dude gonna be like, yo, where y'all going tonight? Nah, dog, nah, we ain't going nowhere.
Hey, D, leave your camera in the car,
Yeah.
man. Leave your camera in the car.
We staying home. As soon as he fall asleep, we out the back door. We out the window.
He probably be recording.
Right. He gonna wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning like, damn, they went out again.
Yeah, can't mess with him.
Next morning, be like, yo, where y'all go? Man, we had an
I
emergency.
just can't. After that, I just can't.
Can't look at him the
root
same.
for him like that. That broke every code that I hold dear.
Yeah,
I mean, having him as a friend is costly.
it's very
There's
costly.
no telling what will be said.
He can't go nowhere. He can't drive. You got to drive your own car, bro. You can't get in the passenger seat, nothing.
And I don't even understand the reasoning. Like, what? He think,
Yo,
when did he realize that was a good
Bro,
idea?
I saw a meme where he got on the bus and he started walking down the aisle of the bus and everybody was putting their bag in the seat next to them. Like, nah, somebody's sitting here.
He should be working for like the FBI or something. All that
All right.
recording.
Let's talk about the NBA's worst teams. Who will be the top 3 teams picking in the 2019 NBA draft? Joe, who you got?
Whew. Off the top of my head, out of the Eastern Conference, I say, look no further than I think Brooklyn will be right there again. Brooklyn will be in the mix. I kind of hate to do this to Michael Jordan because he makes some pretty cool shoes, but Charlotte's gonna be right there in the mix too. I don't see them being able to generate enough steam to make it to a playoff berth. And out of the Western Conference, I will probably say Sacramento. Sacramento has a better team, and they're young, but I still see them in that trust the process mode.
Right.
So,
Well, no, they definitely do not trust the process as a rule. Well, this is one of the big issues with why the West is monopolizing talent is because the top teams in the West slaughter the bottom, and now the draft comes around and it's the Phoenix Suns picking one,
yeah.
and they already got 3-4 lottery picks lined up.
Yeah.
And now you're stacked. How the Wolves were built. You know that's how Golden State was built.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Because the West stays, those top teams in the West are so good that the bottom stays horrible. And now you have a bunch of teams in the East where the worst teams have won 25 games, but Sacramento has 20 wins. The Suns don't have any wins, and next thing you know, you still picking 5th, and they pick some stud number 1. So you have the Nets, the Hornets, and Sacramento. Doc, who do you have?
Obviously, the hard part is it's a draft lottery. So even having the worst record that you've seen in the past doesn't mean you have the number one pick. I certainly feel that the Nets, Brooklyn, will have the worst record and have the best chance to have the top pick.
And they finally have their own pick.
What's that?
They finally have their own pick.
Oh, and they finally have their own pick.
Right.
So that's good. So they can put that to use.
All right. So
And
you're going with the Nets?
but Sacramento will be, right there in contention. They'll certainly have some ping pong balls bouncing around in there too.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Suns,
Oh yeah.
the Hawks, and the Nets are going to be the three worst teams and likely definitely in the top five in the draft, but those are going to be the three worst teams in the league. Which for the Suns, if they end up in that spot, they're going to make a climb quick because again, Utah, Minnesota, Portland, all these teams have been able to stack up good players, and then they're like one draft pick away, and then they start. Denver has a team built like that now, so.
Minnesota is interesting. I don't think they'll be one of the top, one of the bottom three, but depending on how Wiggins and Cat respond to Jimmy Butler's type of motivation, they may be, a 4 or 5 seed, or they may be out of the playoffs back in the lottery themselves.
Since you mentioned it, with Jimmy Butler, they would be competing for the playoffs. Once they move Jimmy Butler, who's to say they don't go back to the top of the lottery?
Very easy.
That's what I'm saying.
Very easy could happen.
But I think, again, if I'm management and if, all of that playing with the third, then I'm saying this is the type of guy that we need because the NBA doesn't have enough Jimmy Butlers because, again, if I have guaranteed money, what is my incentive to play hard night in and night out? Jimmy Butler, just from what I've learned, in these past few weeks, sounds like this is a guy that loves the game and takes a lot of pride in it and is kind of fed up with the mediocrity that he's seeing in these highly talented basketball players.
Right. You know what it is?
And he's saying, you trade me to it so I can play with some guys who want to play hard.
Right. He's that Marquette system. Jay Crowder.
Right. So if Cat and Wiggins, say like, man, no, you can't talk to me like that. I'm going to go out and prove how bad I want it. Then they could be a 4 or 5 seed.
Right.
Because
they have the talent.
There's not a lot of people out here who can check Karl Anthony Towns.
Right.
But if they kind of go back into a shell because they don't respond well to that type of challenge, then they're going to be in that lottery also.
Yep.
That's so interesting to be in the NBA, one of the most competitive places to be.
Oh, it's crazy.
And somebody challenge you and you just wilt. It doesn't make sense.
You know what?
To me.
Because the NBA is also a place where your blessings can get you there.
Yeah.
You 6'7", you can run and jump. You got a shot.
But even then, like all the athletes I've ever run across, and I'm not saying I play with the best in the world, but I've run across some, any little bit of trash talk, and they take it to a whole nother level. That's what I understand.
But they're not 6'7" with 7-foot wingspan and a 40-inch vertical who've just, been cruising all the way through, don't care. Playing AAU, nobody's trying to win.
Yeah.
No one's trying to win. This is, I believe, and I'm not sure, we'll have to check this, but there might be a total of 57-footers walking the planet today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay? You know what I
Well,
mean?
there's going to be more because I forget the name of the tribe, but the tribe where Manute Bol came from,
Yoruba?
Yeah,
they're all 7-footers.
right.
In the
Okay.
it's Yoruba, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
maybe more than 50.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that whole tribe, yeah. That everybody, even the women are tall.
Yeah.
Everybody's, yeah.
Maybe the Wizards should be standing there waiting. Like, how old are you, man?
You'll find a lot of college
You like
scouts standing
7'2".
over there.
You 12?
You never know anybody's age though, because
Exactly.
everybody
You
there,
know.
nobody knows their age.
Right. All right. Let's jump into your Eastern Conference. You know what? We're going to skip Eastern Conference playoff predictions, and we're going to just go to conference finals predictions. Your conference finals predictions. All right. So the top two teams that will meet in each conference, assuming that the seeding works out to match up with your picks. All right.
All right.
Okay, you're up, Joe.
Ooh, I got some controversial stuff here. I'm not going to let you go all Skip Bayless by yourself tonight. The first choice that I'll make, I think we'll all agree.
Let's go west.
West first?
Are we going west or east? Are you going west or east?
Wherever.
What are you
go
ready
east.
with?
I'll go east.
Let's go east.
All right, we going east. All right, so Boston is my number one choice.
Okay.
All right, we all know what they can do. Don't even need to talk about it. But my dark horse team is going to surprise you, but I'm going to tell you why I will pick them. I will say the Pistons could be the second team in the East, and the reason being, Dwayne
I'm
Casey.
from Michigan.
No, that's not just it.
That's not what you were going to say?
We come with empirical information and statistical data.
All right.
Dwayne Casey took that Raptors team that they had to a number one seed in the Eastern Conference against all these other good teams, from last year. Boston, Philly, outplayed them, end up losing in the playoffs, but he got them there. So I could see them doing something similar to that, and he empowering this team because we have a lot of parts. We just haven't used them appropriately, can maybe coach them up with our young guys and get them to a position that perhaps we can make some noise. I don't see anybody beating Boston in the East, but that's my...
Who will be the leading scorer for the Detroit Pistons?
Andre Drummond probably most likely.
Really?
Yeah, I think he might be your most consistent scorer.
Really?
He or Blake.
And what do you think that number is going to be, Andre Drummond?
Andre should get you at least about 25. I think he can get you 25.
Come on, bro. You out on the limb. You out on my limb.
No, I think.
How's he going to score 25 without a hook shot?
Putbacks, dunks. Dwayne Casey is going to scheme better for him than I like Stan Van Gundy, but he didn't scheme as well. He didn't put his system.
Oh, he keeps it simple.
Yeah, he keeps it very simple. But it just didn't work.
Right.
It didn't work. So
you're saying Eastern Conference is Boston versus Detroit.
Yeah, I had to get my Skip Bayless.
That's
on
like
tonight.
straight out of 1985, bro.
Hey, nobody believed in the sin. Nobody believed in the sin.
Ooh, those were some wars.
Yeah, it was.
You think Isaiah and Larry Bird gonna come back for that?
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
That would be good, actually. Doc, who you got? Eastern Conference finalists.
All right. Eastern Conference, I think Boston and Philadelphia are light years ahead of everybody. Again, I guess going back to the 80s.
Yes.
And Bird.
This was
and
before
Bobby Jones,
Boston and Philly was before Boston and Detroit.
That was when
So
Dr.
he took it back a little bit farther than you.
That's when Dr. J was.
I'm going with the Boston Strangler, Andrew Toney.
Oh, yo, Joe's too young for that.
Yeah, he may be too young
He's got
to
no
know
clue.
who the Boston Strangler
That name
is.
sounds familiar. It rings a bell.
Yeah. Okay, so you have Boston and Philly.
Boston, Philly. Now, obviously, we have no idea what Toronto is going to be because we have no idea what Kawhi Leonard is going to do this season.
I'm more concerned about their coach.
Easily to be the MVP of the league this year. And it could be the other way that Toronto's in the lottery. We have no idea what to expect from Toronto.
They make me nervous
a
because
fully
of their coach.
engaged Kawhi Leonard is trouble for the league.
especially
So
the
I
East.
don't know what
It's definitely
to
trouble for the
expect from
East.
Toronto.
Let's see. Here's Toronto's depth chart looks like.
They got Danny Green now.
Lowry, Danny Green, Kawhi, Ibaka, and Vallis Nunes are the 5 starters indicated via Roto World. All right,
Yeah.
that is
And again,
a
that,
very good
that
5.
would, we don't know again what, but MVP Kawhi, I believe, on Toronto would beat Philly. I'm still,
Okay.
as you guys know, I am not sold on Simmons. I think he has good upside, but I'm just not sold on what's on the inside for him.
Okay,
Now, he may prove me wrong, but I'm not sold on Simmons.
right.
So I think Toronto could cause some trouble for them, but we just don't know what we're going to get from Kawhi. I think we know what we're going to get from Boston.
Right.
I mean, injuries can't stop Boston.
Right.
They're
True.
so
Apparently
deep.
not.
It's true.
Right.
They lost their 2 best players. It's nothing. We got it.
Almost
Right.
went to the finals.
So,
Right.
So that,
All right. I actually, just a quick touch. Here is what Philly's depth chart looks like. And the thing about the Sixers that a lot of people don't understand is the big names, but they've been stacking so much that there's several young players who are pushing their way up and into the depth chart who you're going to start to see. So here's the depth chart for the Sixers. Ben Simmons is listed at point guard, and every time I see that, I would say that's nuts. And I would say that's some coach playing a game. You know, like how Popovich used to always put Tim Duncan in that power forward
Yeah.
and then have Diaw at center.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
right.
Ben Simmons is actually the point guard on this team. He's lining up at point guard on this team.
Okay.
He is the one. All right? That's incredible. Obviously, who he's defending could be a little bit tricky. They starting J.J. Redick next to him. They're starting Covington. They have Saric.
No, they actually announced that they're going to start Markelle Fultz and bring Redick off the bench.
Okay.
I saw that today.
Okay. All right. Well, it's still so positionless that you don't know where.
A Washington, D.C. native. I just want to throw that out there.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
You got to give you shout outs, no doubt.
Yeah, DeMatha High School.
And that's another conversation we got to have one day about, youth basketball and what's happening around the country. But yeah,
Oh man.
Ben Simmons is the point. If the Markelle Fultz starts and Redick comes off the bench, that's just a simple switch out. I would be very wary of that if I'm losing a 3-point shooter around Ben Simmons because he collapses the lane every time because he doesn't shoot. You know what I mean? So
Right.
We don't know if Markelle can shoot.
Exactly.
Because his
Exactly.
stuff was broken last year.
all the summertime video, you can show me all the summertime videos you want. You know what I mean? You know me. I'm
Right.
seeing Andre Drummond hitting threes in the summer videos.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I'm not a believer. But Ben
Right.
Simmons,
We used to call people like that warm up all stars.
warm up all stars.
Yeah.
Warm up all stars. Simmons, Redick, Covington, Saric, and MB. Coming off the bench, a couple names that people need to know. Furkan Korkmaz, okay, is a sleeper stud, right? Turkish. I think he's 22 years old now. When they drafted him, he stayed in Turkey. He tore the summer league apart with like 30-point games.
Okay.
And then sat. He played like 2 games, averaged like 30, and then sat. And I mean, I don't even know who to compare him to. He's looking not he's Steph-ish in that he's always looking for a 3, and he uses the fact that he's always looking for a 3 to break you down and do whatever he wants after that.
Okay.
All right, and obviously he hits the 3 at a very, very high percentage. They have him right now as the third small forward behind Covington, Wilson, Chandler, who's hurt, but he's been getting minutes. Zaire Smith is another one just drafted, and he's actually on disabled list and probably might get the Philadelphia red shirt. So those are a couple of guys that you're going to see. I especially feel Korkmaz is really going to step up. Let me get to my Eastern Conference pick. It's Toronto and Boston, right? Doc, you just sold me on Toronto. I'm going with it. Boston's depth chart, really strong, obviously. Every position is 2 to 3 deep.
that's insane.
Right, except for maybe center. But, I still like a guy like Aaron Baines who's going to come in and be physical. Let's go Western Conference picks for the finals.
All right, I'm more sensible with my Western Conference picks this year. I'm going with Golden State, which is my ultimate person to probably take the championship. Going against the Houston Rockets, we'll get a rematch of last year, and hopefully it's as good as it was the last time I watched that series.
Doc, what do you got?
I'm going, of course, Golden State. That's easy. They are just an unstoppable force, and the rest of the league is basically just, on hold until they break that up. If they keep that together, they have 3 or 4 more championships probably in them. And so the rest of the league is playing for second place. The rest of the Western Conference is playing just to make it to the Western Conference Finals. And I'm going to go Houston. I think L.A., usually when LeBron arrives, it takes an additional year for them to get it all together. Mm-hmm. So I think you always have to, wherever LeBron is, he's in the conversation. But I'm going to go Houston in a rematch of last year's conference finals with Golden State winning again.
Okay. I'm going to go Golden State. All right. So both Golden State and Boston are unanimous selections. But I'm going to go with the Lakers as the ones that are going to meet them there, because I think that the Western Conference is really not going to be ready for LeBron playing center. It's LeBron, Kuzma, Ingram on the court together is going to be a +8 over the season. The guards, whether it's Lance, Rondo, Lonzo, Josh Hart, KCP, it doesn't matter. Their front line rotation is going to be Kuzma, LeBron, Ingram, JaVale, and I believe they also still have a couple of sleepers in there too that can get minutes. Beasley, give me those 5 in a front line rotation. Beasley, LeBron, JaVale, Kuzma, and Ingram. That is positionless. You can't guard anybody.
Right.
And it's going to be tough to stop them. So I think the Lakers are going to be there, and I think the Lakers are actually going to give Golden State a run for their money. Quickly, in the finals, are we all in agreement? Boston versus Detroit. No, not Boston. No, Boston versus Golden State.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
We're all going to agree there.
Now let me just say this: the one thing Houston is going to have over LA is 3-point shooting. And again, the way the league goes now, Houston just has so much firepower.
Right.
They're the only team, and I think we all believe they may have beaten Golden State last year had Chris Paul not gotten hurt, because they are the only team that can out firepower Golden State, because they fire just as many, if not more, threes than Golden State. So I don't think LA has enough firepower for Houston or Golden State. That's why I'm going also with Houston and Golden State.
This is true, but I also see Houston as a one-man team, and that one man isn't who you think it is. It's Chris Paul.
You're saying Chris?
It's Chris Paul.
No, they're not a one-man team.
Oh, they will be when it starts to count.
Yeah.
They will be when people start beating up on Melo and James Harden is not getting calls and starts whining and
Chris
he can't
Paul
do
is a
his.
stabilizer.
It's
James,
James Harden has not done anything on his own,
especially playoffs.
especially
You're
playoffs.
absolutely right.
All right, and when you're the number one guy, all NBA, all of that, win a round, win 2 rounds. If he were getting to this point on his own every year and then added this piece, I would say yes. But the fact is, Chris Paul has been carrying teams in the playoffs, winning 1 round, maybe winning a 2nd round, and that's as far as he's go. But he's been carrying teams by himself, and I feel he's the one now that has help. So, that's just the way of
So
looking
let me
at it.
ask you this then. You're saying, James, and I agree, but you were also willing to say Kyrie Irving is going to be MVP, but he has never done anything by himself. As a matter of fact, when before LeBron came, they were a lottery team.
Yes.
This is true.
Now, he was younger then, more immature, but do you think Kyrie Irving can carry a team?
Yes, because he's carrying a team that's Houston does not have good players after their starters. And I question whoever their 4-man is going to be. They don't really
Eric
have
Gordon's coming off the bench. Eric Gordon's a very good player.
Eric Gordon is not. Would you rather Terry Rozier or Eric Gordon?
Right.
Marcus
Okay.
Smart
Yeah.
or Eric Gordon?
I'd take Eric Gordon over Marcus Smart.
I don't know. I'm going to take Marcus Smart because he's going to play D and he's going to do a lot of other things. I like Gordon, but
I take Gordon.
yeah. Let me jump forward. What's the team that you're most interested in watching?
I'm interested in watching.
The team that you would say, especially in this first week, who do you want to see?
Ooh.
And going into like the first month or so before everything dies down in the middle of the season and nobody's really playing hard.
I'm really excited about trying to watch what the Lakers are going to do because I don't know how this team is going to come together. And I think they're going to be good, but I want to witness it.
Okay. I agree with you. Doc?
Of course, my curiosity, I do want to see what Kawhi Leonard's going to be.
True.
I just, to know where he was, he was, to just see if that same guy can show up again, because I think it will add some balance back, to the league, because right now it's just so Western Conference heavy.
Right.
But Kawhi Leonard is
going to be out there next year.
a top 3 superstar that is in the Eastern Conference, if he is still that guy. So my curiosity, I want to see what Toronto is going to be.
Right. I'm going to be a homer, and I want to see the Knicks. My hope is that they play well enough to win 18 games. But as long as my young guys get minutes, that's all I care about. I need to be in position to be picking first, is the way that I'm looking at this season for the Knicks. So that's the team I'm most interested in seeing. We have to run. We